You were disrespected. Again, they cut you off mid-sentence, laughed at your idea, rolled their eyes when you stood firm, and you smiled, pretending it didn't sting. But inside it did. It always does. You walk away trying to forget it, but tonight, while brushing your teeth or staring at the ceiling at 2 a.m., you'll replay it, word for word. What you said, what they did, and how small it made you feel. You're not alone. Even emperors knew that sting. Marcus Aurelius, ruler of the Roman Empire, knew what it meant to be mocked, undermined, and questioned, not by enemies, but by his own senators, generals, friends. And yet, he never exploded. He never stooped to their level. Instead, he wrote, "If someone does wrong, the harm is theirs, not yours." One sentence that took him years of restraint to master. A man who held power over armies chose to control his mind first. Disrespect is nothing new. 2,000 years ago, and today, people will minimize you to inflate themselves. They'll call it just joking or feedback, but it leaves a mark. And the Stoics knew you can't control what they say, but you can control what it becomes inside you. Psychologists today say 76% of disrespectful behavior stems from insecurity or projected stress. Modern science echoes what Marcus already lived. The insult is rarely about you, it's about them. So what if, instead of reacting, you transformed? What if every insult became a training ground? Every offense, a forge for your mind? That's what this journey's about. Not weakness, not silence, but Stoic strength. In this series, we explore 10 Stoic lessons to help you face disrespect and rise. Not with anger, but with clarity. Not with ego, but with power. Are you ready to begin? Part 2, Lesson 1, Don't take it personally. They laughed when you spoke, dismissed your idea in the meeting, mocked your ambition, and deep down, it felt personal, because it always does. You walk away pretending to not care, but their words stick. They echo in your mind like a whisper that won't go away. Not because they were right, but because you handed them the key to your worth. Marcus Aurelius faced betrayal by friends. Senators questioned his leadership. His own general plotted behind his back. And yet in his journals, he never mentioned names. He never gave his enemies the satisfaction of being remembered. Instead, he wrote, "Choose not to be harmed, and you won't be." When you take it personally, you give away control. You tell your nervous system, "I'm under attack." Your body floods with cortisol, your breathing shortens, and you become reactive, not rational. Modern science echoes. Stoicism. Psychologist Dr. Ethan Kross found that people who mentally distance themselves from disrespect reduce their emotional reaction by over 65%. That's not weakness. That's wisdom. Imagine someone throws mud at you. You could catch it, hold it, rub it on your face, or you could step aside and keep walking. Taking it personally is choosing to catch the mud. Marcus wrote, "It is not the actions of others that disturb us, but our own judgments about them." You are disturbed not by what they said, but what you told yourself it meant. Case example. Emma, a manager in New York, was called too soft in a boardroom. At first, it crushed her, until she realized softness was her strength. It built loyalty, trust, and creativity in her team. She reframed. She rose. Like Marcus. Takeaway. Don't internalize external noise. Reclaim the narrative. Let their words pass, like wind through a tree. You are not their insult. You are your response. Practice this daily. It's not easy, but it is Stoic. Historical insight. In Book 4 of Meditations, Marcus writes, "Whenever you are about to find fault with someone, ask yourself the following question: what fault of mine most nearly resembles the one I am about to criticize? By seeing their disrespect as a mirror, not a dagger, you convert pain into perspective." Exercise the detachment shift. Each time you feel offended today, pause and ask, is this about me or about them? Then breathe, detach, journal it, turn your reaction into reflection. Modern day application. Jason, a 23-year-old coder, was ridiculed by his boss during a presentation. He wanted to quit, but instead he took the next day to reflect. He rewrote the pitch, not to prove anything, but to improve it. The result? Promotion within 3 months. Disrespect became his push, not his prison. Neuroscience insight. MRI scans from UCLA show that labeling emotional experiences, even with a single word like disrespect, activates the prefrontal cortex and reduces the emotional amygdala response. In short, naming it calms it. That's what the Stoics did through journaling. Final practice, reframing ritual. Before bed, take 2 minutes and write, what disrespected me today? What did I learn about myself? How would Marcus Aurelius respond? This isn't passive. This is power, refined through ritual. Summary: disrespect is a test, not of your ego, but your endurance. You don't grow by reacting. You grow by reframing. Next, we'll explore the Stoic art of pausing, how silence becomes power. Lesson 2. Pause before you react. You wanted to scream, to fire back, prove your worth, but something in you paused. That pause might have saved your power. The Stoics believed silence isn't absence, it's dominance. Marcus Aurelius once stood before a roaring Roman Senate. A senator had accused him unfairly publicly. The room waited. He said nothing. He paused, then spoke. Not with rage, but with reason. That silence crushed louder than thunder. Science now proves what the Stoics practice. Harvard studies show just 6 seconds of pause lowers cortisol by over 35%. The brain shifts from reaction to reflection, from fight to focus. Epictetus said, "It's not events that disturb us, but our judgments about them." The pause is your shield. In stillness, you process. You don't push anger down, you redirect it. It's not suppression, it's strategy. Someone mocks you in a meeting, your gut clenches, you want to shut them down. But then, you pause. You say, let's stay focused on the solution. And suddenly, you've led the room, not by force, but by poise. Real story, Talia's test, a teacher in Chicago, interrupted by an angry parent. She felt rage rise, but she paused and asked, what concerns you most? The tone changed. Respect grew. Stillness didn't freeze her. It freed her. Marcus wrote, how much more harmful are the consequences of anger than the causes of it? Yes, you can win the moment, but at what cost? Broken trust? Burned bridges? The Stoics didn't win fights, yet they won themselves. Pausing feels unnatural, like silence means weakness. But so did lifting weights. At first, the pause is a muscle. Train it. Practice it. Inhale slowly. Ask, what outcome do I want? Only speak when your words serve that outcome. In the space between stimulus and response, you rise. You don't just prevent damage, you build respect. Disrespect dissolves in the presence of inner command, and that is Stoic royalty. Neuroscience insight. The amygdala shouts, but the prefrontal cortex listens. That space between reaction and response determines whether you explode or evolve. Daily practice, the the Stoic pause. Step 1. Notice the emotion rising. Step 2. Name it. This is anger. Step 3. Ask, what would Marcus do? Step 4. Breathe. Step 5. Speak with clarity or not at all. Next, lesson 3. Let action speak louder, because the best response is often no reply, just results. Lesson 3. Let action speak louder. You wanted to prove them wrong, to explain yourself, to fight every word they said. But the Stoics had a sharper weapon, action. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one." Marcus could have crushed critics with authority. He was emperor, but he didn't shout. He showed up. He served. He built. And long after the critics were gone, his legacy remained. That's Stoic power. Calm, consistent, unstoppable. Today we're surrounded by noise. Everyone talks, everyone reacts, but few execute. You don't need to argue who you are. You show it, quietly, daily. Seneca once said, "The best revenge is not to be like your enemy." Don't copy their tone. Don't mirror their chaos. Rise above it. Stay on your path. Keep building. Modern science agrees. A Princeton study shows we trust behavior over words. That means you earn respect not by defending, but by delivering. Real story. Maya, 27, startup founder. They laughed at her idea. She stopped explaining and started building. 2 years later, $5 million raised. Same people, asking for meetings. She didn't respond. Her results did. Think of your energy as currency. Every argument, a withdrawal. Every focused hour equals a deposit. Over time, your balance speaks for itself. Ask yourself, do you want to be understood or undeniable? Stoics didn't crave approval. They lived by principles, even in silence. Daily practice. Each time you feel the urge to argue, pause. Ask, what can I build instead? Take one action, that momentum, that's your message. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Don't explain your philosophy, embody it. People forget what you said. They remember what you did. Let them mock. Let them misunderstand. You build. You rise. You keep showing up. Because in the long run, consistency speaks louder than noise." Next, lesson 4. Reframe the insult. Because what feels like an attack might just be a mirror showing what you're ready to outgrow. Don't miss it. Lesson 4. Reframe the insult. You're weak. You're soft. You're a joke. You've heard these words before, not because they define you, but because someone wanted to wound you. And it worked, not because of what they said, but because of what you believed. Insults sting because they touch the parts of us we haven't healed. We don't react to the words. We react to the wound. A man who is secure in his strength won't flinch when called weak. But someone who doubts himself, he burns. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Choose not to be harmed and you won't be. Not because harm doesn't exist, but because the way we interpret harm determines its power." Reframing isn't denial, it's choosing a higher view. When someone calls you too emotional, ask yourself, is sensitivity a flaw, or is it a strength disguised as softness? We live in a world that praises toughness, but forgets that gentleness heals deeper wounds. Sarah, a young creative director, was told by her boss, "You take things too personally, toughen up." She almost quit, but she paused, journaled, reflected. She realized her empathy helped her build powerful, authentic campaigns. 3 months later, her team produced the agency's most human viral ad in a decade. The same trait she was mocked for became her superpower. Seneca said, "It is not that we are given a short life, but we make it so." The same goes for insults. It's not their words that shorten our power. It's our attachment to them. Psychologist Aaron Beck, father of cognitive therapy, taught that thoughts create emotions. Reframing is not about ignoring reality. It's about reinterpreting reality from a place of strength. Studies show that individuals who reframe negative feedback as information, not identity, have 42% lower stress reactivity, 3 times higher resilience. Picture this. You're in a room. A bird crashes into the window. You could say, "That bird's so dumb," or "It couldn't see the glass." Same event, 2 perspectives. The insult is the crash. Your reframing is the window you choose to see through. Reframing in relationships. A friend says something sharp. Your instinct is to lash back. But pause. Ask, are they speaking from pain, pressure, or truth? Often, insults are fear wearing a mask. Understanding this turns anger into compassion. Marcus on self-dialogue. Marcus wrote, "If someone does wrong, the harm is theirs, not yours." When insulted, the Stoics asked not, "Why did they say that?" but rather, "What in me is reacting to it?" Practice 3-step reframe ritual 1. Pause 2. Ask, what part of me feels exposed? 3. Rewrite the meaning, oh, they called me soft. I am emotionally intelligent. Oh, they dismissed me. I challenge their comfort zone. This is the art of transforming poison into power. The story of Khalid was mocked for having an accent. He felt small for years, until one day he told his story, accent and all, at a conference. The room stood still. He was offered 3 jobs that day. His accent wasn't a flaw. It was a flag, a mark of resilience. Takeaway, words are like clay. They can be molded into shame or shaped into strength. The Stoics taught, let the insult come, then shape it, bend it, build from it. Our daily challenge for the next 24 hours. Write down every insult or slight you feel. For each, write a reframe. Observe how your mind begins to change its lens. Power comes not from what you hear, but from how you hold it. Final words. The world will always have critics, but you will have clarity, not because they stopped speaking, but because you started seeing. Transition to next lesson. In the next lesson, we explore the greatest Stoic weapon, stillness in the storm. How do you stay calm when the world screams? That's lesson 5. And you won't want to miss it. Lesson 5. The storm isn't you. They said your world is on fire. Deadlines, criticism, chaos. And you feel like you're falling apart inside. But what if the storm isn't you? What if stillness is still possible, right in the center of it all? The noise of the world. Today, everything demands a reaction. An angry email, a public insult, an unexpected crisis. But reacting to everything is not strength. It's surrender. True power is choosing where to place your attention. Marcus Aurelius in the Plague of Rome. During a devastating plague, while half of Rome panicked, Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." He didn't run. He ruled, calmly, deliberately, like the eye of a hurricane. Stillness is a choice. Stillness isn't the absence of trouble. It's the presence of clarity. You can't stop the wind, but you can stop your sail from tearing. You can breathe when the world forgets to. Neuroscience, the still brain. A 2021 Harvard study found that people who train themselves to pause during high-stress situations have 30% lower cortisol levels and 60% better decision accuracy. Stillness rewires the brain. It is the hidden superpower of leaders. Story: Ava and the Fire Drill. Ava, a 16-year-old student, once led her entire school to safety during a fire drill gone wrong. While teachers panicked, she remembered what her grandfather told her. If others lose their minds, lend them your calm. She didn't raise her voice. She walked slowly, gave simple commands. Stillness saved 500 students that day. The myth of reaction equals strength. We're told that fast equals strong, that loud means powerful. But the Stoics knew, the louder the storm, the more vital the silence within. As Seneca said, there is no great genius without some touch of madness, but genius only becomes mastery when harnessed with discipline. The modern Stoic practice: pause before response. Observe, don't absorb. Ask, does this deserve my peace? If not, return to the breath, one boundary, one act of clarity. Marcus and the Emperor's Burden. Marcus faced rebellion, war, personal loss. But each day, he wrote, if you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it. Even an emperor is powerless to control events, but not powerless to choose peace. Practice the stillness ritual. Each morning, before the storm begins. 1. Breathe deeply for 1 minute. 2. Write down the one thing you won't react to today. 3. At night, reflect. Did I keep my stillness? This is daily armor. Invisible. Unbreakable. The candle in the wind. Imagine a single flame, steady despite the gust. The Stoic isn't untouched by the wind. They simply refuse to flicker. Because calm isn't passive, it's presence, and presence changes everything. Final takeaway. Stillness is strength, not because it shouts, but because it listens. In the next lesson, we'll explore something even more difficult: how to set boundaries without anger, without apology. It's called the calm no, and it might just change your life. Lesson 6. Build inner confidence. They said you weren't good enough, too quiet, too weird, too different, and for a moment you believed them. But real confidence isn't loud. It's quiet, it's solid, it's built within. The illusion of validation. From childhood, we're trained to seek validation. Gold stars, likes, applause. But that kind of confidence is borrowed, and anything borrowed can be taken. The Stoics taught us, real power isn't given, it's cultivated. Marcus on approval. Marcus Aurelius, Emperor of Rome, wrote in his journal, not to impress, but to remind himself, it never ceases to amaze me. We all love ourselves more than other people, but care more about their opinion than our own. He led an empire, but he only answered to one court, his conscience. Modern echo. The creator's doubt. Ella is a writer. For years, she posted online and got silence. She almost gave up, until she asked, if no one claps, would I still write? She did. Now millions read her words. Confidence didn't come from praise. It came from persistence. Neuroscience insight. MRI scans show that self-generated reward, like saying I did my best, triggers longer-lasting confidence than external praise. Internal validation activates the brain's ventromedial prefrontal cortex, tied to long-term motivation and peace. Ancient wisdom, modern science, same truth. You are not your results. You failed the test, got rejected. Someone said your idea was stupid. None of that defines you. Confidence isn't the absence of failure. It's the refusal to let failure define you. The Stoic Mirror Practice. Marcus wrote, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts. Each morning, look in the mirror and ask, am I living by my values or theirs? Did I show up with honesty, effort, courage? That's your scoreboard, not the applause." The Ava Principle. Ava, now 17, stands before a scholarship committee. They ask tough questions. She breathes, remembers her practice, clarity over performance. She speaks with calm, not to impress, to express. That's inner confidence. Practice 3 questions for confidence. Before any challenge, ask 1, what do I control here? 2, what matters most? 3, who am I becoming through this? Confidence isn't a feeling, it's a focus. Return to these questions. They'll ground you. The mountain metaphor. Think of a mountain. It doesn't need to shout to be powerful. It just stands. Some will admire it. Others will throw stones. But the mountain doesn't move. Be the mountain. Daily armor ritual. Each morning, take 3 minutes. Write 1 strength I'm proud of. Say 1 truth I believe about myself. Breathe 1 breath to ground me before the noise. Build your own approval system. 1 habit at a time. Final takeaway. Confidence isn't built in crowds. It's built in solitude. Not when they say you're worthy, but when you decide you are. In the next lesson, how to say no with grace, clarity, and courage. Lesson 7, the calm no. Lesson 7, the calm. Know you said yes again, though you didn't want to. Your calendar is full of obligations, but empty of joy, because saying no felt wrong, selfish, cold. But what if it's the kindest thing you could do? The pressure to please. We are trained to please, to smile when we're tired, to agree when we disagree, to carry what isn't ours. But people-pleasing is self-abandonment in disguise. Every yes that violates your values is a no to yourself. Marcus on boundaries. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "If it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it." He faced endless demands as emperor, but his compass was internal. He practiced the hardest art, the calm no. Modern mirror, the freelancer trap. Derek is a designer. He said yes to every client. Weekends disappeared. So did his peace, until burnout hit. He learned to pause, to ask, is this aligned? The day he said no with clarity, his real work began. Psychology insight. Psychologists call it boundary guilt, the discomfort we feel when protecting our time or energy. But studies show those who set firm boundaries report higher confidence, less resentment, and stronger relationships. No is not rejection, it's respect for both sides. Stoic lens. Is it essential? Marcus wrote, ask yourself at every moment, is this necessary? A Stoic doesn't say no to be cruel. They say no to stay clear, because clarity is kindness. Case example, saying no with grace. Leah was invited to a second project. Flattering? Yes, right for her. Number, she replied, thank you for thinking of me, but I'll have to pass to honor my current commitments. No drama, no guilt. That's the calm no. Practice, the boundary filter. Before saying yes, 1, does this align with my values? 2, do I have the energy for this? 3, would future me thank me for this? If not, let it go. Not everything that calls you deserves your answer. The default no tool. Try this for 1 week. Make no your default. Only say yes if it deeply resonates. You'll notice more space, more clarity, more peace, because you are no longer a servant to approval. Ritual, writing the no. Each night, write down 1 time you said no. Then journal. What did I gain? What did I learn? How did it feel to honor my limits? This is how confidence is built, one no at a time. Final reflection. The calm. No isn't resistance, it's realignment. Not a wall, but a mirror. Not a fight, but a filter. Say no, not with anger, but with peace. That's strength. Transition to next lesson. In the next lesson, what to do when they keep pushing past your no. How to stand firm without rage. Lesson 8. Disrespect with a smile. Lesson 8. Disrespect with a smile. You stayed respectful, even when they rolled their eyes, interrupted your sentence, ignored your presence. You kept your posture, you kept your calm, and still, they kept disrespecting you. The loop of disrespect. Some people push boundaries not because they misunderstand, but because they test what they can get away with. And the more calmly you respond, the more they believe it doesn't affect you. But here's the truth. Stoic calm isn't the absence of feeling. It's the presence of strength. Marcus on repeat offenders. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "It is in your power to retire into yourself whenever you choose. So there is nowhere you can go that is more peaceful." He dealt with senators who insulted him, ambassadors who tried to provoke. He didn't raise his voice. He raised his standards. Modern case, the teacher. Elena, a high school teacher, faced a student who mocked her daily. Eye rolls, sarcasm, late arrivals. One day she simply paused, looked the student in the eye and said, "I expect better from you because I believe you can do better." No shame, no anger, just truth in motion. Psychology insight. Disrespect triggers our amygdala, the brain's alarm bell. We want to fight or flee. But when we choose the third path, awareness, we shift from reactive to reflective. This is where the Stoic lives. The smile of power. A Stoic smile is not fake. It is forged. It says, "You don't define me. I see your game, and I'm not playing it." It reclaims the moment without a single insult. Reframing technique. Try this. When someone disrespects you, respond silently in your mind. This is their lesson, not mine. It removes the hook from your soul. It frees you to observe, not absorb. Case study. The young leader. Raj, a 29-year-old manager, was told he was too young to lead. He smiled, delivered results, elevated his team. Months later, the same critics asked him for advice. He didn't clap back. He didn't need to. His results spoke louder than ego ever could. Tool, the dignity delay. When you feel the sting, don't react immediately. Take 3 breaths. Use this silent mantra. Dignity first. Then act from values, not emotions. You will walk away proud, not regretful. Ritual, the mirror check. Each evening ask yourself, did I let disrespect shape me or sharpen me? Did I respond with ego or essence? Then write, what did I do well? What could I do wiser tomorrow? This is how resilience is built, with reflection, not revenge. Final reflection. The Stoic doesn't fight every fire. They become fireproof. Not cold, not numb, but clear. A smile can say, I see what you did, but I choose who I am. That is power. Transition to next lesson. In the next lesson, when silence is strength, how to hold your peace when words would only spill power. Lesson 9. The strength of stillness. Lesson 9. The strength of stillness. They provoked you, insulted you, challenged your patience, and every nerve in your body screamed, respond, fight back, defend yourself. But you didn't. You chose stillness. The instinct to react. We're wired to answer every attack. Evolution rewarded loudness, not silence. But silence is not submission. In Stoicism, stillness is the strongest stand. It says, I own my response, not you. Marcus Aurelius in Stillness and Power. In the chaos of Rome, Marcus Aurelius was emperor during plagues, betrayal, and war. He was expected to roar, but he often responded with pages. Wrote instead of raged, he mastered power through pause. Modern parallel. The protester. Anna stood in a protest where insults flew like stones. She didn't yell back. She looked one man in the eye and said nothing, and he walked away first. Stillness disturbed him more than screams. Neuroscience of silence. In a study by Harvard, those who took a 6-second pause before reacting had 40% lower cortisol spikes. Stillness gives the brain a chance to choose thought over threat. Tool, the silent count. Before replying, count slowly. 1, 2 dots, 3 dots, breathe. Silence isn't empty. It's filled with your power choosing where to go. Example, the athlete. Derek, a young boxer, was insulted at a press conference. He smiled, said nothing. The next day in the ring, he let his fists speak. Silence won the crowd before the fight did. Marcus's reflection. Marcus wrote, "Be like the rock that the waves keep crashing over. It stands unmoved." He didn't avoid the storm. He became the anchor in it. Inner stillness versus outer noise. You can't stop what they say, but you can stop what it becomes inside you. Don't let their noise echo in your mind. Silence turns insult into wind. Practice. Write before you speak. Take 5 minutes daily. Write your biggest trigger from the day. Don't react to it. Just observe it. Stillness lives in observation. Reaction lives in resistance. Modern case, the father. Sam, a single dad, his teenage son shouted, slammed the door. He didn't shout back. He waited. Next day they spoke, calmly. His stillness taught his son what strength looked like. Final reflection. You don't win every battle with a sword. Some victories come in silence. The strength not to react is rare, but it is a revolution of the mind, of the soul. Transition to Lesson 10. Next, turning wounds into wisdom. How every insult can become insight. Lesson 10. The alchemy of disrespect. Lesson 10. The alchemy of disrespect. They mocked you, not because you were wrong, but because you stood out. They belittled your idea, your voice, your name, and it stung. But what if every sting was actually a spark? Pain is raw material. Pain is not the enemy. It is the raw material of growth. Like base metal, it feels heavy, dull, unwanted. But the Stoics knew what burns you can build you. The alchemy metaphor. Alchemy, the ancient science of turning lead into gold. It wasn't just about metals. It was philosophy disguised as chemistry. Turn fear into strength, insult into insight, disrespect into discipline. Marcus and the transformative mind. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "If you are pained by external things, it is not they that disturb you, but your own judgment of them." He didn't erase insult. He rewrote its meaning. Modern parallel. The teacher. Clara, a high school teacher, was mocked by parents for her gentle style. She almost quit. Instead, she started journaling. She reframed every criticism into a lesson plan. Now she leads a national education program. Psychology of reframing. Cognitive behavioral therapy echoes Stoicism. It teaches, you can't always change what happens, but you can change what it means to you. That's the alchemy. Case study, the artist. Julian, a painter, was told his work was too emotional. He didn't water it down. He leaned in. He turned insult into identity. His work now sells in galleries across Europe. Marcus's Stoic reframing. Marcus. The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. Your insult is your instruction. Tool. Rewrite the insult. Try this. Write down the insult. Now rewrite it into a strength. You're too intense becomes you care deeply. You're too different becomes you think independently. Example, the student. Maya was told she wouldn't get into law school. She kept the rejection letter, framed it. It hangs on her wall, in her law office. Science, neuroplasticity. Your brain is moldable. It reshapes based on what you repeat. Reframe often enough, and your mind becomes your ally. Final reflection. You are not what they call you. You are what you answer to. Disrespect is not your death. It's your fire. Forge something eternal from it. Transition to close. Next, the last step in this journey. How to rise again. Not with rage, but with resolve. Lesson 11. The rebirth of self. Lesson 11. The rebirth of self. They tried to define you, reduced you to a label, dismissed your worth with a word, and for a moment, you believed them. But what if that wasn't the end? What if it was your beginning? Identity burned. Every insult you swallowed became a splinter in your soul. The names, the mockery, the silence. You wore them like armor, not realizing they were chains. The Stoics teach us, burn it all, let false selves fall away. Marcus Aurelius and the Ashes. Marcus lost children, comrades, even peace in his empire, but he never lost himself. He wrote, "Look within. Within is the fountain of good." When the world collapsed, he rebuilt from the inside out. Modern rebirth. The veteran. James, a soldier, came home broken, haunted by war and labeled unstable. For years he lived in shadows, until he started writing again. Not for applause, for clarity. Today he leads a resilience program for trauma survivors. The power of re-identification. Neuroscientist Dr. Lisa Feldman Barrett. Emotions aren't reactions, they're constructions. Your identity is a story you keep telling yourself. Change the narrator, change the life. Practice the identity reset. Try this. Write down every label you've been called, cross them out. Underneath, write 3 truths: who you are, who you become, who you choose to be. Marcus and the flame. Within. The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts. Marcus didn't armor his soul with revenge. He fortified it with purpose. You don't rebuild by shouting louder. You rise by standing still. Real case, the sculptor. Mina was told she wasn't strong enough to work in restoration. She took a hammer and chiseled a marble anyway. Today she restores ruins in Athens. Not just stone, but spirit. Journaling ritual. At the end of the day, ask yourself, what name did I answer to today? Did it reflect truth or fear? How do I reclaim my name tomorrow? Psychological insight. Studies show when people reframe their identity with agency, levels of self-respect, optimism, and emotional resilience increase by over 40%. The mind heals when the story changes. Final rebirth reflection. You are not your past version. You are not their label. You are not the pain. You are the phoenix, born from the ashes of who you were into who you choose to become. Transition to close. And now the final chapter awaits, not just to endure disrespect, but to lead with grace, even through it. The Stoic way forward final voiceover. Most people crumble when disrespected. They lash out, hide away, or give up. But you've walked the fire, and now you rise, not hardened, but refined, not louder, but deeper, because now you have armor, forged not in anger, but in understanding, in stillness, in mastery. You don't control others, but you always control the response. Marcus Aurelius. Call to action, subscribe if even one lesson gave you clarity. Comment below which one changed your perspective the most, and above all, Live these lessons, not to impress the world, but to guide it quietly, powerfully, stoically.